No, I just put it on until we get going, and then I'm gonna turn it off.
Yeah, it's just too hard to hear.
It is incredibly hard, so no, it's just, I'll wait till a few more people come in and I'll turn it off. It was stuffy in here when I got here.
Oh, okay. What is longer places?
Well, there's your pillow. We have a closed session.
Oh, close for that. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll see, we should have closed session maybe like at 6:30. So it doesn't go too late.
I know. But
Next time.
we put it at the end, I know, we put it at the end because that way. Anybody who has to be here doesn't have to stand out there. And so,
Yeah,
but anyway, you're right, and we don't usually have agendas this long. So,
interesting about Nico's suggestion.
which one? The grant?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went on the website, there'll be discussion about it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know, I want him to, I'm covering up a cord, so.
I like the rug, it's so pretty.
Thank you. It was, used to be in my house, then I got new rugs, so, but same, just a different color. And so I had extras. There's one next to your chair too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it used to be in my kitchen.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Festive.
Yeah. Who made it, you know?
Well, of course, women in India doing it by hand, and it was sold on Amazon for not a lot of money.
Good on Amazon.
I know.
Bring everybody out of business.
Yep. So this is you. I mean, your usual spot.
Yeah. It's gonna be hot. Oh,
I know, me too. And I know when I saw you this morning, I almost laughed because there you were, your vest, you know.
yeah.
Okay, it's fall. I can tell by Susan's wardrobe.
Just in case.
Yep. Here, I'll give you the other map. See which one, but it's that. Okay. Nico, Susan and me here.
I see glasses.
And we're set.
Maybe iPhone.
There's, you'll laugh at this. Hi, everybody. Look what I found. Exhibit B. It somehow didn't get copied.
Oh.
There's the map.
No way.
Hello. Hey, I'm so. Hey, you can get saddles. Nice. You know, I always think that, and I'm here really early all the time. Yeah. It is. And I'm so glad Pancake came.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
They're everywhere. Like the pancake went to Trader Joe's today.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
Lennon said she would like to get on the list to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Wonderful. So,
What do you think, girl? Right?
okay, would you like to do it in October?
What's the date?
The date will
Because we
be,
do have some
Oh,
days for
great.
out.
yes, let's make sure that's one time. Let's see, what is it?
It'd be the third Thursday.
Then it would be October 17th. I don't know when your break is.
That is the week of our break.
Then you can do it in November. Because you'll be here, right? Let's check
Yeah.
the November date. That would be,
No, actually, we won't be in November. Apparently, we go away on the third Thursday. Yeah, we're gonna be gone.
in November?
Yeah. No, just that week.
Well, then
Well-
then December.
December the 19th?
That sounds good.
We will do that. And if we have a special meeting before that and you're in town, I'll talk to you about it, okay, Lennon? Because you might be able to do it sooner, maybe do it twice, because Lizzie wants to do it again too. So that sounds great.
19th, December.
It'll be
December 19th.
Christmassy.
Yes, it would be Christmas.
The holiday pledge.
Yes,
Love it.
we'll have to wear festive clothing. Okay,
Holiday.
Lennon, December 19th. Okay, got it.
And then if you Thursday inspired after your sister does it, you could do one too.
He said he wants to, he said he doesn't remember the whole.
That-
And I said, people will say it with you and it's fine, right? See?
Your main job, Hendrix, is to, and PJ will practice too, is to, when we call your name and say, Pledge of Allegiance tonight is going to be by Hendrix, and you're gonna come up and stand on this line and basically say, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. And they all say it.
Oh, perfect. So
Perfect.
we all say it. So you don't even have to.
So you just tell everybody what they're supposed to do.
You
We love telling people.
Yeah, so that would be excellent, maybe January.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your birthday.
Oh, dude, it would be like right by your birthday too. 'Cause it's
Okay.
the third.
Thursday.
That's a great way to turn 6.
Okay.
January 16th.
Okay, Hendrix in January, got it.
So it's 16th, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
20th, right there.
Oh, that's excellent.
Oh.
Okay,
You're your birthday. present.
oh, that is
Perfect.
perfect, outstanding. Yep.
Love it, guys.
And that means, yeah, and
You
you
come
know,
here early, 6:49.
yeah, you know, we'll start turning in. You know, the cool part about doing the pledge, they try to put the beginning, and then you can stay for a minute or not. And you and pancake and everybody who's with you, you can go, see you guys, and you just come.
You want to stay at the meeting?
You can stay for as long as your mom and, Julia say, yeah, we can do it.
Last time we wanted to get out of here pretty quick, sis.
Think of some, would you rather?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I like this.
We like these a lot.
Yeah.
What?
Would you rather book for kids? They like would you rather? Oh, you were talking about this, so I think I know your answer. Would you rather the weather be 110 or -4? -4. What's -4? It's like freezing, like
It's
freezing,
so
so
cold.
cold.
It's pretty chilly. I didn't see that dog.
It's Pancake.
So true.
I know. Pancake goes everywhere, almost like Charlie.
And I also.
Well, that's cool. We got to get in our calendar filled here. Okay, Anne's going to be coming late because the LAFCO meeting is going on. Told her no worries. We didn't have anything of importance till the end. And even then, we're
Well,
fine.
the ARSA thing.
The ARSA thing. Yeah, and that's after we get through the other more straightforward stuff.
Yeah, EJ. It was.
I would love to be on record as saying no, but I want it to pass if everybody wants it to pass. I just want to be on record just in case.
Well, if Anne's here, she will vote yes, and you can have on record. No. Yeah, I
That's what I hope.
perfectly understand.
Except the summit. So you can confirm with your friend. So cute, I mean.
He got really so.
Yeah.
What's that?
Kind of like
Never met a.
Seriously.
Getting close to it.
It's starting like a hamburger.
Yeah.
9.
Oh.
You guys want me to give some more? Would you rather? Yeah.
Well, Lennon and Hendrix have signed up. And Lennon's going to do pledge at Christmas. And Hendrix, in December, and then Hendrix is going to do it in his birthday month, January.
Oh, nice.
I will have to wait a long time.
Well, we can do it again in the. Pretty cool.
I can't believe.
Oh, you should do that. Next year in 2025, well, you will be in 2025. So 2025, she can do May, and then you can do the holiday. You could do December of next
Wait,
year.
when I'm in January, then I'll be sure.
I know, I can't even believe it.
How much more months until I'll be January?
Not long, let's see, it's September, what, 19th?
September, December.
September, so October, November, December, like 4 more months. Cause you're at the end of January.
Yeah. Cool.
There's only 28 days in January.
But it's gonna go by so fast because we have
Yeah.
Thanksgiving,
Halloween.
Christmas, Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah,
You know what I'm gonna be doing for Halloween?
What?
what?
King Ben,
Scary.
something scary?
You could be King Ben.
Standing because I need Pat to sign something and I don't want to forget.
What's that?
Oh, yeah.
I'm standing because when Pat comes in, I want him to sign something. The agreement with that Aces is going to be sold to Delta Container. And I forgot to get his signature last month. So,
Kind of like.
1, 2, 3. Now, 1, 2, or 3, 50.
Yeah, that's fine, I guess. So.
I wanna do the same.
Second. So when she came back to the.
There you go.
There you go.
We're here for the magic pledge. He gave me the flag. Are you on the sound?
Yeah, it's in the.
Levin's gonna do it in December.
Yeah.
He's gonna do it.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, would you rather? Oh.
Howdy.
Hello.
the game is here.
I feel like it's kindergarten.
I know. It's like that every day at my house. Old school, kids. Do you know when they stopped?
What?
Do you know when they stopped having school sessions in this building? This was an old school, right?
Oh, yeah, this
Yeah,
is the back blackboard.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So excited. Look at you.
How about you?
Doing good.
Oh, yeah, I'm standing outside. I need to see. I put down and everything.
Yeah, I know. It sounds like, give me a chair.
I think it's all good. Yeah. And something, I mean, You want it live, but.
Yeah.
It's gonna be set in the schedule, so we have to run it, so you don't have to do it. Yeah, it's already gone, it's not live, it's on there. They used to do it. I'm checking the live. I made one.
What do you think?
That, they really water.
Hi, Susan.
I do.
How are you? Seriously?
Hi, Bruce.
Hey, Susan. So,
Just wondered, because that was for a gray field,
right,
and I wonder if that might not still be good.
well, that's what they say. It's the Mars, but the chance that they possibly cover it on that project. So. Don't get your hopes up yet, but here's the deal. Everybody did that project on money from before, now sticking it, so I figure I'll do the same. You know, what's the worst thing that happens, just say no? Hey Joyce, long time no see. Good group tonight. And that she's running late.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Peach, you ready? You did. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Nico, how are you? I'm doing well. How are you? Good. Nice. You ready for this? I don't know. I have no idea. Is Ann gonna make it? She's running late. Okay. So she said that she's gonna probably end up being late. She let us know. Normally LAFCO has like 0 on their agenda. She said full agenda today. So I think that's the thing about LAFCO. It's funny. They'll like have these agendas, they'll just cancel the meeting. And I think it's finally caught up with them because they canceled for the last 6 months. Oh, okay. Now they gotta get something done. You got 7 o'clock. I didn't.
I need a signature.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, I'm so glad to have a full house. It's so nice to have everybody here. It's 7 o'clock and YouTube's gonna start live. If it hasn't already, it'll start in a second. So we're gonna bring the meeting to order. Thank you so much for being here. The second item on our agenda tonight is going to involve PJ Groth, Patricia Jane Groth. She is a transition kindergartner and learning to write the letters of the alphabet. And PJ, we have a new spot for you right there. And you can invite everybody to Thank you. Okay, we're ready for roll call and establishing a quorum.
All right. Council members, as I call your name, please acknowledge that you're here. Nico Amberselli. Susan Bragstad.
Here.
Bruce Sherrill. Here. Sandy Staples.
Here,
And Ann Keller-Tinian emailed me and texted me and let me know she's running late. And she's engaged in a LAFCO meeting, so she'll get here as soon as she can. But at this point is not present. Mayor, I now turn the time over to you.
and we have a quorum.
Yes.
Okay. And we have seats. So anyone who would like to move up?
And silence.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, the third item on the, well, fourth item on the agenda, and there are some extra agendas in the back for anyone who would like one. Is to approve the city council regular meeting agenda for this evening, 19 September of 2024. Because we have an amateur water agency representative here tonight, we are going to reorder items in the agenda slightly to take advantage of their presence. There are two here. So item 9F is going to be 9D. 9D will be 9E. 9E will be 9F. So just slipping in the other water.
Mayor, we also have a representative from Southern Creek if you want to change ARSA from 9J to accommodate his presence.
I would really love Ann to be here for that.
Okay.
When she comes, we will move it up.
Okay.
Unless we get a real delay on that. Is that
Okay,
acceptable? So with these modifications and the tentative moving up the ARSA agreement to accommodate the representative from Sutter Creek, do we have a motion to accept the agenda with these changes?
So move.
Seconded.
So we need to do a roll call vote because we are being recorded. So Nico Amberselli. I will give her name. Okay. To approve, great. Susan,
Aye.
Bruce,
Aye.
and so the motion is approved. The agenda is approved with those changes. We're now on to public comment. Under provisions of the California Code, citizens wishing to address the council for any matter not on the agenda may do so at this time. Comments are limited to 5 minutes or less. And city council cannot take action unless it's of urgent need, but we can make note of your comments and your need. And because we are being recorded and our microphone is up here, we either need you to stand, say your name if you have a booming voice, or come up to the blue mark in front of Pat, our city attorney, because then the microphone will get your voice. Sorry about that. Is there any public comment this evening? No public comment, so I get all of that and we don't need it. On item 6, there just notes the communication, the letter of correspondence addressed to Patricia Jane Groff, and then one to Sutter Creek regarding our sewer bill. Any comment on either of those from the general public? From council? And we'll just move on. Next is the consent calendar items, and all items listed under the consent calendar are considered routine by the city council and may be enacted in one motion in the form listed. There can be separate discussion of the items if the council, before the council votes to adopt them, and for separate discussion and for action. The 2 items listed are approval of the regular meeting agenda from the meeting in September, the 15th of August, 2024, or the financial report. So Jill, first, are there any comments on the regular agenda? Any discussion on the financial report? Is there a motion to, were you going to say something?
No.
I didn't want to cut you off. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar items as they are without any changes?
I'll move.
You're masked.
I know, you are masked,
Well,
incognito. Yeah.
Who is that?
So, you made the
Yeah.
motion to accept the consent agenda,
Second.
and now we will vote to approve. Nico.
Aye.
Susan.
Aye.
Bruce.
I,
The motion, they are accepted as written, as submitted. We do not have any ordinances or public hearings today. We'll move on to the regular agenda items. And just as a reminder, there are 3 stages to the items. The item will be read, and then a council member or applicant who put it on will go into some discussion and offer details. The public will be given an opportunity to comment, ask questions, express their thoughts. Then there'll be a discussion among council members, and then a roll call vote to approve the motions or take action if needed. So with that, the first item on the agenda, item 9A, is regarding ACES Delta container. And it is discussion and possible action regarding a rate adjustment and proposed multi-year Proposition 218 notice to Amador City residents. The attachments are a letter from 6/11/2024 that was notifying the city of these impending activities. And then there's a draft notice of the public hearing. It's a Proposition 218 notification that we will be discussing tonight. So is there, oh my goodness, we have people on the playground. So a lot of entertainment here, and it's city government. So is there any discussion regarding this from you, Dave, or from the ACES partners that are here tonight?
I'll turn the time to them first and then I can give a little history and background if they don't include that, and then
On the
we can have
Proposition
it
18?
on this, we can have a recorded discussion for anyone that would wish to see it. So we'll put over the call and Donnie. If they have any.
Well, yeah, following the franchise agreement or contract with the city of Amador, we're requesting a rate adjustment for calendar year 2024. We proposed the multi-year 218 just to kind of save the residents costs as the mailings and whatnot and just add additional costs to the process. We proposed a not to exceed 8% for calendar year 25, 26, and 27. And you guys have any questions? I'm here to answer.
I appreciate the timeline you gave me, just to refresh everybody's, memory in terms of what a Proposition 218 has. It first is presented to city council, or city council presents it to the community. And then we include the proposed rate adjustments. And then if it's accepted, then it is postmarked and mailed and posted by next week, 9/26, so September 26th. And then it's posted and given opportunity for 45 days of review and discussion by the community. Then there'll be at the regular city council meeting in November, on November 21st, we will meet for a public hearing, hear input from the public, review the notes, and then consider passing that rate adjustment. And there'll be implementation of the new rate if it's approved December 1st. I said that properly?
That is correct.
Read it right from your email.
Yeah, the rates take effect October 1st, and decided not to do a condensed rate, just.
Mhm. Okay, so,
So just quickly, the city annually usually meets with ACES to figure out our contract. Because we have a good working relationship with them in the past. Of course, we continue to expect that there'll be a good working relationship on both parts.
you'll still be seeing both of us.
And that's the benefit of the bargain, right?
yeah,
But as the public may know, ACES has recently undertook a sale of the business, correct?
It's pending,
Pending.
right.
And so, but based on that, and given the fact that it is a corporation that's maybe not as local, except still run by you guys. We looked at it, and as a city, we recommended, as long as it went along with the plan, that the 218 would be proper at this time. Again, for locking in those rates. Again, the idea is, as we continue to work with partners, this is a good opportunity for the residents to have projected costs based upon a rate that is then submitted to the voter and given back and has approval. Whereas before, we've just been working with a, relationship over the years
Right.
that has gone professionally, and we expect that to continue. But we feel this is a good idea for the city based upon that continued relationship with the Monellis and their continued services for our city.
Right.
Thank you.
Speaking for Republic, they will continue, they will honor the contract as we have done
Sure.
over the years. And I'm staying with the company, Johnny's staying with the company, and we will be the team you will meet with in the future.
And we appreciate that, to continue to have that connection with you guys. But we also do understand that, it's been in the past, it's just work to go year to year.
Right.
I think given the fluctuation in costs and cost of living, I just think as a citizen as well as the city manager, this is a good opportunity for us to lock in those projected rates to give our residents an idea so that they can budget and plan for it.
We've done this with other cities, Jackson and Sutter Creek. And it works well. And like you say, the people can plan for it.
Mhm.
These are the rate caps.
Yes,
Can't go higher than this.
yes.
So they could potentially be less than this. I'm not saying it shouldn't be,
Right.
but this is the cap. So people can look at this and plan for the future.
But you guys have always been good too, to come and explain the rates and answer those questions
Right.
by the council. Of how those rates are affected and how those rates fluctuate from year to year, even with explanation of cost of gas and equipment and all that.
Mhm.
That may not necessarily with a bigger corporation, we may not get. So again, we appreciate that working relationship and look forward to it going forward.
Yeah. And for those of you that are residents here or zooming in, live streaming in, we do have information on Delta Container here in City Hall, right on the counter, if you want more information on that. The flyers that you all gave us. So thank you. And we need to take action on this. So thank you, and we'll be ready to move forward with you with regard to the mailing and the postings.
Sounds good.
Thank
We have
you.
an address list that's already established, and
Yeah,
we agreed to do the mailings for
We
everybody.
appreciate
Get
that.
the ball rolling.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you. Appreciate it.
I have a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've neglected my role. Is there any public comment? City Council, is there any comment?
I have a comment.
All
I'm
right.
just sorry to see the rate go up every year.
Cost of living, Susan. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions about that rate increase?
Well, people say it's because the cost of gas goes up, but I notice when the gas goes down, these prices don't go down. They just keep going up.
Gas with diesel, it's a
Mm.
component, it's not
Right.
the only component of it.
I imagine you guys buy probably the fleet rate and you get a certain price over time period, right?
And I imagine, things like health insurance and when I go with insurance and all of that unfortunately doesn't go down.
Right.
Yes, Councilwoman Braxton is right, gas and diesel do go down, but those other costs don't.
Well, Joyce and I were talking in the office today, and she's gonna miss Paul Senior and the candy. So,
No pressure, Paul.
we're just saying. Yeah, she's right. Well, thank you very much for being here. Okay, and we'll be in touch next week.
And my other job, my other hat, I'm the District 1 Water Agency Director, so I'm gonna stay. there.
Stay, yes.
I'm
Okay,
not your director, but
good.
I can answer questions, just thank the gentleman.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and with that, we'll move on to item 9B, Office of Kathy Castillo, who is going to discuss and introduce herself, discuss the audit process and timeline. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I am Kathy Castillo, CPA. This is Susan Boardwell, CPA, and Mila Swift, CPA. So there's 5 people in my office, 6 people, and 3 of us are the CPAs. So I'm very sorry that the circumstances have arisen that Mary Louise is no longer around and can do this for you. But Holly has been contacting us And finally, in August, we sent out the engagement letter and proposal, and you returned it to us. And so we just wanted to show up tonight and just kind of go over briefly what our timeline is gonna be and the audit process. Because we're going to be initially sending out questionnaires to all the board members and your key employees, your personnel. Because these questionnaires will ask you all sorts of questions, they're very confidential, and we use them to plan our audit. So there's always our standard audit programs that we do, no matter what the organization is or municipality. But if there's just one area that you might have concerns with, a certain fund or whatever, these questionnaires are the place where you would put that. And when we are doing going through our audit and doing our testing and sending out confirmations and all the procedures that are involved in doing an audit, we'll take a closer look at it. So one of the things we want to do besides doing our required audit is to provide you with some value. Because audits are required and they're expensive and it's nice to get something for your money. So certainly we're very aware of that. And before I turn it over to Susan, who's gonna elaborate a little bit more on what I just said, I just wanted to mention that I saw Susan on the cover of Comstock magazine.
I'm a cover girl.
Also, great picture. I really like what you had to say, so. But it was a good article. It's nice to see somebody local.
Okay, so for the audit, as Kathy mentioned, we're going to send out questionnaires to all the key employees, the city council members. Going through those things, we would like to get those back by the middle of October. And we plan to start working with Holly in early November to go through all of your procedures and get the records and stuff like that we've requested from her. So that during the end of October or beginning of November before Thanksgiving, we're going to be doing most of our planning for the audit. After Thanksgiving, I feel sorry, Holly's not here. We are going to be tormenting her with so many requests. But we'll be working closely with Holly to get all the information we need to do the audit and all the testing in December and probably early January. It is our hope to have everything completed so that we can have your financial transaction report filed by the end of January with a good audited numbers.
Thank you.
Just that we do ask a lot of questions, that we do try to minimize the interference. You know, audits are disruptive. There's just no way around it. But just bear with us. And we will also, when we are communicating, a lot of times we will CC all the board members, just so you don't have to respond to these emails, but they're just sent out, they're copied to you, just so you know where we are on the audit, what kind of questions we're asking, just to kind of keep you in the loop. You know, we're not going to just show up one day and then disappear for weeks at a time and, you know, leave you wondering what's going on. So we do try to just let you know what we're working on at the time, questions that we're going through, and, you know, just for your information. You don't have to respond unless we specifically address it to you.
Okay, thank you.
And one other note, if there's any time where we're asking for things during the audit, or if you have any questions or anything, please contact our office so we can go over things with you. We don't want you to be grumbling or, you know, just being completely confused about the process, because it can be overwhelming and we can ask a lot of very specific questions. So if you're just not sure, just ask us and we can go over everything.
Oh, appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, well, okay. We have some questionnaires that we can leave here. We'll go ahead and leave those. we're going to send out an electronic questionnaires to everybody as well, and then we've also made a copy of the request that we have already given to Holly, and she started to work on it,
Mhm.
so that you guys can see, what we are requesting so far.
Wonderful. Get ready. We'll be able to get ready for it. Thank you. That's great. Okay. We will get these copied and- Thanks.
Oh, can I just add one thing?
Mhm.
Just to disclose, my husband is Jim Swift and he is on the city of Sutter Creek City Council. So,
Not a
so
conflict.
that everybody knows.
It's a small
Thank you.
world.
Yeah, we're small. Thank you very much for being here and for the information and for doing the audit. And we'll get the information out so we can get ready for the electronic questionnaire that comes.
Wonderful.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Yes. Thank you. I once again missed my job. Were there any questions for Kathy Castillo and staff? No, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Item 9C, Amador Water. It discussion and possible action regarding Amador Water Agency request for easement for fire flow improvement project, excuse me. We have attachments, a resolution that we'll be discussing, and then some additional information. I want to state that there was an exhibit B that somehow did not get copied. I've distributed it to staff so they could see the map. I want to apologize for that in the original packet. And staff have it as well. So with that, I turn it over to Dave.
Right, so of course, as you've seen from the map here, this actual section is just right outside, actually, this building right here. So in that gravel parking area and then down the street that just runs north to south here is where the water agency is proposed coming in, and basically they're going to update our main to provide for greater water distribution. But when I met with them and Larry White, the one resounding concern is at this point for Amador City, given the fact that we live in fire country, our current water flow pressure does not exceed, it isn't even close to where we should be. And so what this will do is provide the city with adequate flow to our, not only our homes, but also the fire hydrants based upon this new pipe and the pressure that it'll provide. So again, that was that when I talked to them, that again was the biggest part that they wanted to let everybody know. So essentially what the project is going to do is the pipe is going to come across right here by this home that's just across the street from us. There's going to be the box that contains all the equipment, and originally they thought about putting it underground and then allowing for that to still remain a parking spot. However, that's been changed because again, the idea is that the equipment that's contained in there, if there is a fire or a need to get at it at 3 a.m, heaven forbid, and a car is parked on it, it creates a situation. And so now they're just going to block off that one spot. The construction that goes down the road, while it'd be disruptive at times, again, they will manage to repair and replace and make the city whole with the pipeline that goes. It shouldn't disrupt normal flow of traffic too much. They will make concessions for the individuals that live along that street, so they will be able to get in and out. But again, this is a vital improvement for our city just upon the age and the infrastructure that the city currently has. And again, this is a project that the city isn't paying for, the agency is taking care of. And so they're now seeking from us the easement to ensure that they have a place for that pipeline. Any questions from me?
Any public comment? Any questions?
And then we have a manager.
I know.
I'll just introduce myself. I'm Larry McKinney. I'm the general manager of the water agency. Paul Engineer is one of the board members and governors here. Liam Bailey is our engineer on the project, so if there's any questions about it, he's the one that actually knows about them. The other thing I would say is this, we did a water improvements plan 4 years ago,
Mhm.
looked at our entire service area and came up with an enormous capital program, and then we went through the process of prioritizing that into a 20-year timeline, because it was too big to do at once. And the first 38 projects of that list is what backed up our rate study. And you all know that our rates went up, and it's because of aging infrastructure and problems like that. This is one of those projects that was in that first high priority list to get done, and we're happy to be moving forward with it, so. We're just pleased to be of service for you.
Well, thank you. So there's no public comment. We don't have a lot of public here anymore. How about council? Are there any questions, comments?
I have a question. In the 20 feet,
Mhm.
is there no parking allowed in that 20 feet?
The only place that we won't have parking is just on top of our vault, which is gonna go in the corner by the power poles. And that's the only thing that we wanna maintain access to, and we have concerns about, not getting access to if somebody's parked on it. But the rest of it, that's a 10-foot wide area. So the entire rest of the back parking similar to today, and I was looking at it out there when I came in, the way everybody's parked today, you'd be able to park exactly that same way when we're done.
Mhm. Yeah,
And it'll be, Ann walked in, so, sorry, so it'll be appropriately marked in that corner with bollards, so they can't park on it.
Which corner is it? I don't
It's
see
right
it.
over here, so on the, so this house that's right over here in the parking area,
Yeah,
it's towards the street right there where the power pole is, correct?
Right, it's toward west, it's in the corner next to West School where the two poles are.
okay, they don't show on this map.
Right. So again, Susan, no one tends to park where that vault's going to be.
Yeah.
Again, because it'd be obstruction to the street. So again, when I met with Larry and of course the crew, there was no concern with disruption other than during the time of construction. And I just want to add that the water agency has been really good to meet with us as a city and just go over and the general layout and the disruption is going to take place. And it seems to me that they've worked out a very good plan and will work with the city to help accommodate, making sure that it's the least disruption as possible.
are there any other questions from council?
Oh,
No?
glad they're doing it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So with that, would someone like to propose a motion that we approve resolution number 630 that grants exclusive easement to Andover Water Agency through that portion of that property, and I'm not going to read the number, the lot number. So we're looking for a motion.
I'll have a motion to approve
I'll second.
And Susan seconded.
resolution.
Okay, so we'll do a roll call vote since we're being recorded.
Aye.
We go alphabetical.
Yeah, it's
sorry.
okay.
So, Susan,
Aye.
Bruce,
Aye.
Ann. Right. And so the motion is approved. The resolution will be approved. Thank you all very much for staying. Okay,
Larry will get you a signed copy of that resolution so you can have it.
Yes.
for your file.
yes, well, thank you. Ann Kellertinian has joined us, so we had some changes to the agenda which were approved early on in the meeting, but we're going to move up ARSA so that we don't keep our guests here to the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, we are going to skip over to item, let's see, where are we?
9J.
Yes, 9J, thank you. And 9J, it's discussion of it's follow-up, so we're resuming from last meeting. Discussion of the proposed and existing agreements involving Amador City, possible action regarding the dissolution of ARSA. The attachments are resolution number 632, which we'll be talking about. And then an amendment to the joint exercise powers agreement between the County of Amador, the City of Sutter Creek, and the City of Amador City, and that would be amendment dissolving ARSA. then there are some historical documents in there, just because we have some council members who were not on council earlier in getting the background. So it's the Joint Powers Agreement, September of 1982, and the Joint Exercise of Powers Agreement between Amador City and Sutter Creek in 1995. So they are there just for historical background. And with that, Dave and Tom Du Bois, who's here from Sutter Creek.
Would you like to go first?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Du Bois, I'm here tonight, actually, as general manager of ARSA, another company I wear.
Okay.
And, I was on your last meeting on Zoom, and I hadn't looked at your packet, and I looked at your packet tonight, and I think there might be a little confusion about what we're asking for at this point. So what we're asking is to amend the JPA, which I think is your second attachment.
Mhm.
And that amendment clarifies that Sutter Creek would be the successor organization if ARSA was dissolved. The dissolution resolution was just meant to be an example of what we're gonna ask for later on after we know it's done.
Thank you.
So we're actually not asking you to dissolve ARSA tonight, just to approve the JPA amendment, and that's why we included the actual JPA agreements to show you what we were amending. So, sorry about the confusion, and hopefully that makes it a simpler vote. The county and the city of Sutter Creek have already approved the amendment, and it's kind of the next step in the process. And then the reason we're not doing resolution tonight is we have contracts that we're amending. City of Sutter Creek and the ARSA board both voted this week, for example, to enable the transfer of the lease of the actual reservoirs, which was one of the major agreements. So CDCR wanted to see some additional paperwork, so that was passed to make them happy. And then Dave and I are talking about a new agreement. That's another, and I was talking to Larry about another agreement. Those need to get done before we actually do the dissolution. So if you have any questions, happy to answer.
Well, I'm going to thank you for clarifying that, because I was, looking at them, which one comes first and how do we do this? And I'm going to apologize for not having that clear.
Yeah, all three attachments were sent together, so I understand what happened. It was just there as an example.
Thank you. Thank you. So again, public comment, any other comments? I turn it to council. Are there comments or questions from council members?
I'm not sure what we're voting on. Are we voting on anything?
So Susan, at this point, you're amending the joint powers agreement to take the authority of ARSA, from the ARSA board, and giving it to Sutter Creek.
And is this 9H, is this 9H in the packet?
Yeah, I could clarify the
I'm sorry.
amendment enables two things.
We added two other things, so yes,
I
you're,
was just looking in the, yeah.
So it amends the joint powers authority to say that if there is ever a dissolution, that Sutter Creek
It's
is the
I.
successor and inherit all the liabilities. And the second thing it says is that Sutter Creek must first give Amador City and AWA permission to proceed with dissolution, and that's to give us time to do these contracts. So it's those two things.
you want to take a look at it, Susan?
Does that make sense, Susan? Does that answer your question?
So,
I'm
so-
confused.
so we are not voting on resolution 632, so we need to strike that from the packet,
We
right?
do, we
Okay.
do.
And then if I move down, we have a document that says amendment to the
Yes.
joint. That's what we're discussing and approving.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And I want to apologize again to council members for the confusion, because it came together and I thought it belonged in the packet. It was just an example, but that was not clear to me.
Mhm.
So I apologize.
Is that in the packet?
It is. Here, you want to look at mine?
Yeah.
Okay. Any comments or questions, Bruce, Nico? We'll give Susan a minute to look at that. Thank you, Tom, for explaining that.
And this is sort of the
Mhm.
first action toward towards the dissolution of ARSA, correct?
Correct, yes.
And without this, they're limited in going forward.
Right, gotcha.
we all are limited in going forward.
So I will just add to that and may address some of the concerns in the future. I have been able to meet with Tom and we have been like you said. We have not had an agreement with Sutter Creek for our waste disposal for a number of years. And so he and I are working on a new JPA that falls under this. And so in this sense also, as they move towards dissolution and this process begins, it gives us the ability to actually put into place that agreement that is more long-standing and actually is good for our city and good for our wastewater disposal. Because again, we'll be working with the actual agency that controls it. So, and again, Tom has shown a good ability to manage the situation and to give us projections and also information related to how it's going to work going forward. And I think that's been one of the biggest concerns of the council is this outlier of how are we going to deal with this? But I can just say based off of our conversation and our beginning stages of this contract, that we are actually, it will be in good hands with Sutter Creek moving forward to help us with our continued disposal of our wastewater, which again is a concern for our residents because we have to have it.
We have to have it. And essentially, as Ann said, this is the first step. You can't get to that step
Right.
without this step.
This was not in my packet.
It was,
the resolution, Susan.
yeah, you need to do it. I can find it for you. It is in
Page 44.
page 44. What page are you on?
I don't know.
27. That's my. Okay, let's see. Okay, bear with us. Okay, resolution 632, we're striking.
This is.
Here it is. There you go. Amendment to the joint exercise of powers.
Okay, and so until ARSA is dissolved, it's still, the board still consists of what it consists of.
Right.
So this is for when ARSA is, when most likely it's dissolved, this says Sutter Creek will resume the principal position within ARSA. Or within the sanitation district.
Mhm.
Could have done this a different way. The attorney felt this was the simplest, cleanest and cheapest way to do it. So that's how we did it.
Yeah, and again, I correct me if I'm misspeaking, Dave and Tom, but part of assuming responsibility is you're assuming not only the responsibility, but all of the liabilities that come with that. So this is not, this is not a boon for Sutter Creek necessarily.
The other thing Dave and I talked about, I just want to make the offer, if you'd like me to come to a future council meeting and just talk about the plans for the wastewater treatment plant, I'd be happy to do that.
That'd be great.
Okay.
So, and I guess I'm also reading that as if ARSA is not dissolved, this doesn't really mean anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just part of the JPA agreement.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
But I think one of the things the council would give, because there are new members on it, the council needs to be aware of. Again, Amador City has been represented on ARSA for a number of years. And to the amazement of this council and previous councils, one of the problems is that ARSA with their meetings over the past, I want to say, 8 or 9 years, there just haven't been meetings. And so that back and forth communication, because I think Susan can attest, every time she come to council and we go through our committee meetings, she would report that, oh, they canceled again this month. So nothing to report. Again, I know this is a step down the road here, but it's something I think the council can consider as we move away from this lack of ability to communicate Amador City's needs to a council that's not, or a meeting that's not meeting. This gives us a chance to work one-on-one with Sutter Creek, which again is our direct receiver of what our involvement in ARSA has been. And I think that's one of the reasons why the council has not approved a contract for a number of years, is just because that information has not been provided. And so this is also a good step in receiving that information. So like Tom is saying, he's willing to come and lay out that entire plan for us, which they've been working on for a good period of time. So it's not just a fly-by-night thing that they're trying to achieve. This is a good solid plan that they've been working on, and Tom is here to implement it.
Well, we will have better communication in that regard and have our questions answered and appreciate that. Appreciate your offer. Yeah, so there are a lot of positives to consider. And we are dependent upon you, so this is important to us as well to get this moving forward. So with that, are any more questions or comments for Tom or Dave? Okay. With that, then we need, looking for a motion to approve the amendment to the joint exercise of powers agreement between County of Amador, City of Amador City, and the City of Sutter Creek.
So moved.
Is there a second? Yay. Okay, with that, we'll do a roll call vote. Nico? Susan?
the second, please?
So Nico, it was an aye. Susan?
I'm gonna abstain for now.
Bruce?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
The motion is approved and Susan abstained. Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Tom. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here.
The resolution that's being adopted is not the one in here. It'll be
Yes,
modified to read that the council is agreeing to the amendment in the form of that.
yep. I'm
And
gonna.
that's all you're agreeing to.
Yes.
Yes, we are not agreeing. The resolution was a sample and I misinterpreted why it was part of the packet.
Do we need to table the resolution then?
We're,
passed.
no, the
resolution
resolution
didn't-
did not pass.
Oh.
The amendment passed. The
Okay.
resolution is as a strikeout.
But I think you need a resolution approving the amendment to RSA. There should be a resolution to that effect. And that can be drafted by staff after the fact the council's already approved it. All you're doing, a resolution specifically approving an amendment to the RSA agreement in the form that was attached.
So that's our responsibility to have that resolution. I think they have things they have to do before we can do that resolution. If I'm-
I think he's saying reword the resolution to say
Just
that
say not
only,
agreeing to the dissolution of RSA, which
We're
is what
agreeing to the
your
amendment.
or the resolution that's in the packet says. A resolution saying we approve the amendment of to the JPA for RSA in the form attached, and that's what's in here. That's what I reviewed, and that's what we're talking about tonight. That is all the council is approving. Because RSA is not going away immediately. There's some steps that have to go.
Mhm.
But the preliminary step was to approve the amendment of the JPA, and that's what you guys did. And I'm just saying there should be a resolution that says that. And that can be drafted after the fact by staff and signed by the mayor and city clerk.
So that would be at our next meeting.
Or you can do it before. I'm just saying the council's already taking the action.
And that's, Pat is correct.
Mhm,
You can do it. Essentially, what you're doing is you're creating a record, a file to
mhm.
say that you approved it.
And that was what I interpreted when they both came together. And then I thought he said no. I'm
What-
sorry
what's
to
saying
express
is,
my
The
ignorance.
resolution said, that's in the packet says more than that. It says you're
No.
agreeing to the dissolution of RSA, and that's not
Yeah,
what's happening.
so that's where the confusion is, Sandy.
Got it.
The resolution he sent was the dissolution resolution. At this point, we can do resolution 632, which
Mhm.
is that creates Sutter Creek as the successor
Mhm.
if there is a dissolution of RSA as the governing entity.
do we need to change our vote? Do we need to
Well,
change the
You approve the
amendment? We approve the
and
amendment.
that's all you're doing. I'm just saying.
Do we need to
resolution
approve
effect.
that we approve the revision of
Oh.
632?
We'll just do 633 or whatever, but
Okay,
essentially, all you're doing, all you're doing here is you're codifying your vote.
Right. By resolution, so there's a paper trail.
But it's a completely different resolution.
Right, that hasn't been drafted yet, and that's fine, that can be done.
Thank you.
Without further, you don't have to table this till next month, you can approve, you've already approved it. The paperwork can be done by staff and signed, in due course before the next meeting or anytime by the mayor and clerk.
Does it require a separate vote from us
No,
now?
you've already voted.
Andy, I'll draft the
I'm
resolution.
not trying to make it difficult, that's.
Clear as mud, Pat. That was actually, when I read his pack, I'm just gonna back up and say, when I read his packet originally, that's what I thought. They were one and the other, and then he just said, no, it was a sample.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're good, kinda.
We'll take care of it.
Thank you. Okay. With that, we're in, we put in, do you have the revised agenda with you?
I only have one thing at a time open. on
I
my
know,
phone. Yeah.
okay, well, it was sent Monday.
Yeah, I know, yeah,
Okay.
I didn't print it.
Okay, fine.
Or my,
It's all, it's good, I
Okay.
can follow along.
We're back to 9D now, I believe.
We went back to 9D, which, we kind of had a renumber there because we moved up an item. And this is, small community clean water, wastewater, discussion and possible action regarding proposal to pursue SCWW funding and a proposal report in Nico.
Yeah, so I suggested this one. I've been doing some research, joining the board or the
Council.
Council. Yeah. Learning about all the new issues in the city and trying to understand them and grapple with them. And this came up in part of my research, and it seemed like a good thing to start exploring. So I attached a letter about maybe why we want to look at the grant. It's provided by the California Water Board, and it's coming out of the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. And so in my research, the interesting thing about this specific grant is it applies to disadvantaged communities. And actually Amador City qualifies as a disadvantaged community.
We do.
Using what criteria?
It's the census data and medium home income.
So because when we did our
The
paperwork for K, we were not.
Yeah.
So did our medium income go down?
It did.
It is.
It went down and the states went up.
Okay, I see, okay.
Yeah. We're below the 80%.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
and there are different categories
Mhm.
for determining MHI. And environmental, some of the park stuff goes with the environmental MHI. But in the research that I did around the water revolving fund, that MHI is defined as by the Census Bureau, the community.
It's the one they do yearly as opposed to the 10th.
The one every 10th,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, the community, what is it called?
It's got a goofy name.
Yeah, so anyway, in my research, Amador City's median household income is $62,000. So, and the state is 75,000. So, that puts us at a unique position to be able to get kind of high up on the list for infrastructure projects, capital projects, with the opportunity for compensation from the state. And reading through it, one contingency on the MHI status would be secondary homes must be under 50% of the dwellings, so that'd be vacation homes, and or secondary homes, so basically people are primary residents. So and in between 25 and 50% of secondary homes will be evaluated on a case by case basis. So that'd be our only sort of like caveat is I don't know how many
So
secondary
our housing element breaks that down.
Yeah, and it's on, I'll show it to you.
The housing element
Yeah.
has that data.
I did read through it, but there's a lot of info there, so yeah.
Go back to Amador City.
Yeah,
We're in
you
the
go
back.
to the Amador City Annex, that's
Yeah.
right, and it'll have.
Yeah. Well, I had a couple of questions, just because I followed your link, I mean, the link that went with that, and to take a look at it, and then, of course, you have to have a water board key account to access and look at the applications and things. Do you have one? Were you able to-
No, I wanted to
That's the first
approach
step.
the
Yeah.
council first and
Yeah.
suggest that we
Will we do that?
move forward and sign up for an account. Yeah.
And then, yeah, because then we know what the requirements are and how the applications look, because most, I mean, I'm stating the obvious here, but my understanding mainly is, when applying for something, we need a project. And I'm gonna guess they will be asking, and this will give us time to look at where we fit.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest a plan or maybe kickoff plan for a plan of some projects. So I don't know, I'm sure we have some stuff in the backlog of any capital improvements will qualify, so it can be over a period of multiple years.
Now, is this capital improvement just to wastewater and water?
Yeah.
So,
I have a project.
So we should definitely
Yeah.
get Grant.
Mhm.
Grant is our wastewater engineer.
I spoke with Grant actually
Yeah,
a little bit.
I'm sure he'll have projects.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, there ought to be one on the agenda for next
Yeah,
month, so.
yeah.
Well, and you've been in touch with him.
Yeah, I had an hour-long conversation.
Oh, yeah, good,
Mm,
good, yeah.
good. So essentially, we're just gonna be discussing like going ahead and getting, getting that account so we can go into the financial assistant application.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, now I just in terms of discussion, I know Dave's probably gonna talk, I hope anyway, will align with this. One of the things we have to do is have this be a city account because
Mhm.
council members come and go and then
Yep.
links get lost. So we'd, have to do it through an account that's not gonna go anywhere.
Mhm.
And I
So,
can work, Nico and I can work together. on
getting
that.
that, okay, that would be my only concern in terms of setting it up. Yeah,
Are
okay.
you developing a list of projects?
Yeah, sure, I can. I don't know if there's a committee that deals with water or previously if there's a list of projects. I don't know.
Actually, Bruce and I are,
But you cannot be on. You
Okay.
can- Yeah, you could, it's the Brown Act, two only. You could be
Got it.
community, but
Okay.
if they have projects, they can go to city manager and then, but you can't be on that committee.
Okay.
Anyway.
Nope.
We can
But
discuss them here.
Well, again, at this point, it's just establishing that,
This
that
is-
account,
the account,
which Nico and I can work on,
right,
and then report back to council.
Maybe, yeah.
we don't know what the application's like. We don't know what they're looking for in projects. So it's getting more information before jumping to that step, okay?
Mhm.
So the question now is, do we want to have a water board account, a WB key account to access the FAST? I love that, FAAST, Financial Assistance Application Submittal Tool. Very fancy.
Yes.
So yes,
Can I ask Nico, in your discussion with Grant, did he indicate that the city or he has one of these accounts already? Okay, now, that would be my only question, if we already have one, or if he's established one.
Yes,
Because I know I got a slew of emails this morning where Grant has gone in and we have to report to the state whether we've had any spills, and so I got that report today, so. Again, I know it's separate but distinct, but Grant has access to that because of his position as well as I do,
Mhm.
so I just wanted to check.
Yeah,
No, I didn't talk to
Okay.
that, so it might be worth bringing it up.
okay. So we'll just do a roll call, kind of approval of taking, of Nico and Dave taking this next step and getting an account. So Nico?
Motion to approve, I guess.
Well,
We already did, okay, aye.
Okay, and we don't need a motion for this, do we?
All right.
You do need a motion.
Okay, do we?
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a-
I
Thank
move
you.
that Nico and Dave proceed with getting an account for the SCWW grant application,
It's called a water board key account.
a water board key account.
I'll second that.
Oh, thank you. So now we'll do roll call vote for those for approval or Nico,
Aye.
Susan, Chris, Ann.
Right?
Motion is approved. So we will proceed on getting a water board key account and finding out what we can do.
Mayor, may I just, sorry to interrupt, but
Go.
may I point out, we skipped 9D and 9E.
Yeah,
And went to 9F
back path,
on the agenda.
9D.
Oh, no, we renumbered.
Yeah, we renumbered them.
We renumbered at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Okay,
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, yeah, at the very beginning, when we approved the agenda.
Yeah.
It was confusing.
It was,
Yeah.
I moved it up because I thought the water board people
would stay for that?
but not ours, so they were gonna go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just want to make sure they don't get skipped.
yeah, no, they don't, they're next.
Okay.
This is. Well, it was 90, but now we are on 9E with the adjusted one. And that is the Bike Path Advisory Committee, the BPAC. Discussion and possible action regarding phase 1 planning of a roadway multimodal improvements between cities of Amador City and Sutter Creek. There is a resolution to that effect, and I want to point out at the end, at the last meeting Susan and I were at, we were very firm on making sure they had language in there that it was at no cost, no expense to the city. And it's just looking at approving this project in theory. There was a black and white map that we copied to show what phase 1 is. And Susan and I both have color copies if that's going to make a difference in reading it. It essentially is starting the part we're looking at is starting in Amador City at the intersection of highway, of the old highway and then Water Street, heading out towards Turner, and then it goes up Turner into Sutter Creek, through, it's all county land, into Sutter Creek and comes out at Hanford. We are responsible for Amador City part. That's what we are talking about today. And in this is just looking at, are we gonna give them authorization to go ahead with their next step? This is at no cost to us. Here's the map if anybody wants to look.
The map doesn't include, oh yeah, it does have Stream View Alley.
That's phase two.
Oh, okay.
We are only looking at phase one because String Bean Alley as a county road is gonna require a lot of rehabilitation. That will
Yes.
be
Yeah,
something
that'd be
else.
Phase two.
So this is, we're looking strictly at phase one.
Got it.
And there's a lot of county land in there and a lot of Sutter Creek land and not too much of Amador City.
Yeah, the bulk of it is in the county.
Mhm. So again,
And
this.
Sutter Creek passed theirs Monday night.
They did. Because again, I want to read the end and Susan and Julia Circa and I were very firm on this. They needed to have in there that's at no expense or financial commitment from city council on the proposed roadway segment. So.
Maybe a sign or two.
We, at this point, there's no money from us. We are only approving their next phase.
Yeah.
And that would be. And then we would vote on their next phase, and if that's coming with expense, we could vote yes or no on that.
It's resolution 631.
It is 631. So are there any questions or further discussion on the resolution from council?
Mayor, can I ask, what is their planned timeline following this, the passage of this resolution for looking at phase two?
There are a couple of steps that this is also falling somewhat under the umbrella of Amador County Transportation Commission. There is money within this project, but it only comes after there has been skin in the game from the entities that are involved. So this first step involves saying, sure, we're in favor of going ahead to the next step. The next step would be doing, it wouldn't be a full engineering, it would be looking at what's needed for this first go around, and then there'd be, and that would look at what's it gonna cost to do a full engineering assessment? What would be the scope, the sequence, the estimated cost? So it's looking at the baby version, and if that gets approved, then it would go to a full engineering evaluation, and ACTC does pay for that.
Okay.
The issue is, what is that baby step in between?
Sure.
And we can't get that without
Yeah.
saying, yes, we are interested in phase one.
Okay.
It specifically says there's no financial commitment.
No financial commitment, right?
So
That language is in there.
Mhm.
That's in the resolution.
It is.
I feel like the identified segments are not, it should say,
Mhm. They're back, they're Sutter Creek centric, so phase one starts in Sutter Creek. Whereas we would start it in Amador City.
Yeah, do the reverse.
Yeah,
right, but I don't see,
Why can't they do it?
I don't see the Amador City segment listed on this bulleted list in the.
That's, yeah, so I see Turner Road twice. And then Valley
Oh, it's
Street.
in light blue. It's
That's
hard.
not, but that's not
hard to read.
Old Route 49 Amador Road to String Bean Alley, so I'm assuming maybe this part, I don't know, is it this part here?
No, this meets up with
Oh.
String Bean Alley.
Well, I know where
Yeah.
it meets here, but
this is in two parts, so there's the intersection here, where's Sutter Creek?
Sutter Creek's over here.
Okay,
Way
they're
over-
down here,
Yeah.
so then they're going up
Over
this way,
road.
and then,
The String Bean Alley.
Yeah.
and then there's another segment, so then it's going from this intersection.
Yep, I understand all
Okay,
that,
okay.
but this list doesn't say this. This
On the
list doesn't say.
On the
It says it
resolution,
here,
it says,
but the blue is hard to read.
Mhm,
It says Turner Road.
mhm.
it doesn't say.
It doesn't say that. It says
It
this.
says Stream Bean Alley.
That's Turner Road.
Yeah, it doesn't, yeah, but it doesn't say that, it should say something like, Amador Creek Road to Water Street to Main Street, something like that.
Yeah.
That's what it-
But it's the backwards. They're
That's where
going
it's
from
going.
here, this intersection, And then they're saying from, well, String Bean Alley, they're saying
Okay.
String Bean Alley.
I see, they're not,
Turner.
they're not, so the list is not, okay, so they're saying String Bean Alley.
The exit.
Here,
Turner Road, and it turns up on Water Street and comes in.
up to Amador Creek Road, which is here.
It doesn't,
They
it
said
says,
Water Street also.
it says String Bean Alley, okay, that's what they mean, they mean this is
Yeah.
Water Street, it's not,
It
it's,
used to be Water Street.
It did.
it's Amador Creek, okay,
Yeah.
I've got it, okay. Gotcha, okay,
Okay. Okay,
okay,
Nope.
all right.
Involved.
and then they identified phase two, which is not what we're discussing tonight. They put it on there.
could we add that here? I mean, amend it to say water,
Amador Creek.
Amador Creek Road to Water Street, so that people know that, because everyone calls that Amador Creek Road. And I
well,
think that's what the sign says.
Yeah, right downtown is.
I just want to
Right,
say,
downtown is Water Street, yeah.
It only
But
Water
you know-
Street from the city limits, yeah.
mine does not say Amador Creek
I
Road.
know, that's what I'm saying. Can we amend it to add that?
Just say,
To say
Right.
from String Bean Alley to Amador Creek Road to Water Street.
but it's by way of Turner, so they're doing
I know, I
Turner
know.
Road.
But it's, yeah, I understand that,
Mhm.
but this says, oh, I see. So you don't need to mention the,
No.
okay.
They're
Okay.
just saying on Turner Road, from this intersection
All the way to
through,
Water Street.
on Turner Road, this is this
Okay.
section.
Okay,
Is that helpful?
yeah,
It, yeah,
yeah, it just confused me.
yep.
So there's signage, there's gonna be solar beacons.
Mhm.
Do we know what those look like?
They have-
No, because there hasn't been an engineering assessment yet.
But they
David,
did,
look at that.
early in the process, they did provide us with examples of what they could
Mhm.
look like.
There's nothing going in the road.
Mhm.
So the purpose, I think, of the beacons are,
Just
I-
oncoming traffic.
you know, that section of Turner that's very narrow and it goes up the
This is a
hill.
beacon, and here's a beacon.
can't see
So the
anything.
Those are
areas that-
beacons.
And
Oh, I
it-
see,
would
got
be,
it, got it.
They would be. I think that's on the Black and White one too. Anyway, they would be possibly here, just because these are areas where there's either curvature or a change of elevation, and there's kind of not good visibility for drivers or for cyclists, for example.
Okay.
Same for up here,
You don't have
especially
each
coming up this
council
intersection.
Yeah, it's really narrow right there. Yeah,
And you
Okay,
can't
that
see.
makes sense.
yeah,
But this again is not approving any of those.
okay.
These are, lay people said these would be good spots. Engineers would determine where they need to be.
Yeah, they mentioned the city council creating a subcommittee. Have we done that, or is that something that we're going?
Where
to do?
is that?
It's right above where it says
Oh,
road.
each of the city councils created, well, we did, we did, yeah. This has been a project going in for a while.
Yes.
And Susan and I are both on the BPAC thing for it,
Okay, perfect.
okay?
You need to amend the signature block also the proper form, which is, we don't have each council member sign, that's not the proper form. That's easy to do.
Well. So do we sign it or not, Pat?
Well,
You
amend
sign
I
it.
mean, we have our standard approval of resolution language. That can just be cut and pasted into that instead of what they put. It is not the form to have every single council member sign a resolution. We don't do that. Just the mayor and then the clerk attests it, and the vote of the council is listed there. Who the ayes were and who the noes were, that's what you do.
Kind of like,
We can do
Like on
it.
all other.
I have it in Word. I mean, I
Yeah,
just took it,
easy-
I
easy
took
to
it
fix.
as they
I'm just
gave it
saying.
to us.
Yeah.
Just
So,
fix that part of it.
I
The
can.
language other than that is, if you approve it, it's okay.
Okay, so with the revision or the editing of removing individual city council member signatures and just having it be mayor and city clerk. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 631 to approve phase 1 of the multimodal improvement resolution, which comes at no cost to the city?
So moved.
Is there a second?
second,
Roll call vote. Nico.
Aye.
Susan. Bruce.
All right.
Ann.
I,
The motion is approved and with the editings that we discussed. So thank you, Pat. I'll take care of that. All right, 9F. Okay, yes, Weber Gio. So Dave,
Just simply put, Weber Geo, has continued to work with the city on essentially a contract that was last signed in 2019. And so I know that, you know, again, with the contract that's included in the packet, it does share the rates going forward. Again, these are just rate adjustments to, work with some of the costs of course, their employees and the cost of their employees and the services that they've provided. Again, they're just, because of the time between the last contract and now, you know, maybe it's a little bit of oversight by either us or WGA, but they're seeking to have us just simply enter into the new contract. Which again, we have ongoing services with them.
Mhm.
And do we know how much of an increase this is over our 2019 rates?
I don't have like
It
specific
would have been
percentages.
existing rates, just.
That's in a prior contract, which I'm sure is in the record.
Mhm.
Right. I didn't, they just asked that we submit it. Again, I apologize that I wasn't able to provide the council those adjustments. I did look at it today and had that thought, but the packet had already been put together and approved. So, as I recall, they're not astronomical increases, so.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're big increases, yeah.
And they've been good to work with too.
They have it, and the discussion I also had, so I talked to Matt Hospital, you know, it's his company, he's the one that asked that we put it on the agenda, so he did forward it to me. He did say, you know, like, they have been working for the city of Ione. And that there's problems there, but in the course of dealing with those problems, the city of Ione has also looked at like hiring an outside firm. And I just in my discussions with Ione and their city manager, like, yeah, they cost a lot more and they charge the travel time. So again, having this relationship with a local, again, I didn't get into the numbers with Ione or with Matt when we talked about it, other than just again, and if the council like it, I can find those numbers for you, but again, it's a matter of just continuing to keep that relationship. And there's a good chance that we've already been paying close to these rates anyway, the services we have.
Well, and if I'm reading the top part of this amendment, we have been working with them since 2012.
Correct.
So they've, you know,
Oh, it's been longer than that.
well, good. I'm just gonna, I talked to Matt Hospital today and just myself in terms of Measure M and going forward on our Main Street maintenance and rehabilitation. And because they already have our records, they've already done the specs. It's sort of, that's a resource we really don't want to lose. Stating my opinion, but
And
Anyway.
I agree with your opinion.
probably not supposed to do that.
And well, I'll say this too, many of the issues that I run into, I do consult with WGA and their associates, from Larry White to Matt. And while they do charge us for their services, I can say a lot of times their services go uncharged just because of that relationship that we do have with them.
Yeah.
And a good example of that is the completion of the park. When we did that, one of the things that we had initially included in that initial projection of what we were gonna spend on the park included fees that we would pay to WGA, and given the cost of it, a lot of those fees were waived on our behalf so that we could actually get the park by, you know, having that a donation match, which they didn't have to do that. And again, if we went with a much bigger firm
We would.
out of county, we're not gonna get that kind of relationship.
Yeah. So, are there any questions or discussions for Dave?
Any impacts on the budget if this rate schedule changes? Like, are we aware of any? Impacts?
Nothing substantial. I did have that discussion with our treasurer on that. Our treasurer is looking into if there needs to be an adjustment, and she'd already done that, and at this point, she didn't see any projected changes. Again, it may lead us to being a little bit more cautious on what we do, which will affect the bill, but overall won't affect the budget.
I will put in that when Holly and I were working on the budget, we upped everything. Just because, and we know that contractors and engineering have gone up, so that was one we're on the proposed budget that we looked at in July. We had already built in that there would be extra fees.
One thing that we may need to do is because for the
Yeah.
building inspector, for example,
Yeah,
people who get permits, they bear the cost of that.
We need to change, yeah.
So we have to update our permit costs in order to cover the increase in the building inspector
Yeah.
cost.
All of our permits need that. And
Yeah,
we want to
yep,
say,
yep, yep, yep.
that's
So we
a
have
good
to-
agenda
yeah.
item to look at
Yeah,
that. Thank you,
that's good.
Ann.
Well, that was, and again, thank you for bringing up, that was the discussion I also had with our treasurer.
Mhm.
Is the update of those fees, so.
Yeah.
Because again, so the council and the public, which is us, is aware, we don't make money off of those permits, they
No.
simply, but we can't also be giving away the city's money by charging less than what the permits.
They
cost.
should cover who needs to go inspect
Right.
and who's.
So,
time
which is
is.
good, even though we do have an empty council chamber, it's good to have that on the record that is the process, right?
And it's on YouTube now.
Right.
So
And so
thank
those
you.
that are watching will
So
understand
when do we increase those
next
fees?
month,
Mm-hmm.
so it's an
We will
agenda
work
item
on
for
that.
next month.
Maybe one of the things we can do is look at the percentage increase and start by increasing our permits by the same percentage.
Yeah.
You know, something.
Good
along those
idea.
lines.
Okay. So with that, we hear a motion to approve this First Amendment professional service agreement with Weber Keo.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
So will we do a roll call vote? Vote? We might have to go reverse alphabet next time. Susan,
Aye.
Bruce,
Aye.
and
Aye.
the motion is approved.
What was the motion?
Motion was to approve the professional services agreement, the First Amendment with Weber Geo. Nico, seconded. You,
Bruce.
Bruce?
Bruce second.
Okay, thank you.
Susan first, Bruce second.
Got it.
You're not going in alphabetical order. You're doing me last.
Because you're the vice mayor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do know that I'm the vice
Yeah.
mayor, but I didn't. know.
You didn't know.
Hey, we might have just confused them, and you've been the vice mayor since January.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I just,
sorry.
I didn't know,
She
yeah.
was doubting my bit. We can need PJ up here. She's learning to write her letters. She got the alphabet down. Yeah,
Cool.
PJ probably would have told me I was out of order.
That's a great voice.
Great voice.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
It's recorded.
Okay, good.
Okay, so thank you. So that was approved, and on to item 9G, a domain acquisition for Amador City. Discussion and possible action regarding a proposal to acquire a .gov domain for city use. There was a proposal outlined from Nico.
Thank you. Yeah, just put together an outline for what the steps would be to acquire a .gov domain. I think it would build some trust in the website. It does have enhanced security. And gives a little bit more legitimacy to email communications on a website. Yeah, it's $400 a year.
I want
Pretty
to
straightforward.
I want to comment on that. I looked too, followed, your information and on get.gov, I don't know if that's where you were looking.
Yeah.
In 2022, they removed a registration and renewal fees for
Oh, okay.
.gov domains.
Okay.
So we may not have to,
Yeah.
but I was wondering if maybe yours was more updated.
I can check really quick.
Yeah, because especially if it comes with no money, it's an easy sell.
I think, but I also think, so if this is gonna change email addresses, right?
Yes.
We're gonna have to do,
Yes.
an automatic, like email forwarding from our current email addresses
Mhm.
to the new .gov email addresses,
Mhm.
as well as probably
Overlap.
something on our website indicating
Mhm.
that we have new email addresses.
And Dave's suggestion, when we were talking about this, we were in the office earlier because we were reviewing the agenda, was to keep both for a period of time. So
Yeah,
we
but I
didn't
still
miss
think we
anything.
should, I still
Oh,
think we should
absolutely.
have a process for setting up the forwarding. Yeah.
And they have those, they're available.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. And in putting it on the website, agree as well.
Yeah.
Good
And
point.
then you could separate the functions, like put all the government stuff on the official website for the gov and separate that.
Yeah.
And this is actually kind of a chamber of commerce, so in that time,
Mhm. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
as it should be.
yes.
think it's a
So,
great idea.
so you're checking to see if.
Yeah, let's see how much it was.
Yeah.
I had $400 a year written down, and we might be able to get that for lower, apparently. I just, oh, it does say they're free,
Yeah,
so maybe they dropped the fee.
it was, yeah, so.
Yeah.
I have to say that we had staff saying, oh, no. But if we have a process and it's set up by someone other than individual staff people for forwarding, I think we can sell staff on it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So, is there a motion to pursue getting a .gov domain for Amador City if the name is not already taken? Is it already taken?
I checked and it wasn't.
Okay.
It would be amadorcity.gov.
One word or with the dash though?
Well, we could pick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's available and let's see, is the dash available? The dash is available too, so.
Can we get both?
I
I
don't
mean,
know,
like,
maybe.
right, like, businesses get more than one and it all goes to.
I'm sorry?
Without the dash?
Both of them are available. Yeah, whatever we want to do. I would say probably without the dash. but
I would too.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, which is more, it's more
Easier to
straightforward.
say, yeah.
Yeah, amadorcity.gov,
Yes,
okay,
Yeah.
so,
But do look into if it's possible to get the version with the dash and maybe
okay,
the version
yeah,
with the dot, because sometimes people just, I mean, it would all go to the same place, basically.
yeah.
You have to set it up. If you have one, you have to have an automatic forwarding to the other one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because I know
Redirect.
businesses will do that.
And I don't know if that costs extra money.
Yeah, I don't know if it does. If it costs extra money,
it
that's,
doesn't cost anything.
Mhm.
But do we know who's managing the domain right now? I guess that's one other question I had.
Do we know?
Don't look at me.
Who
No,
owns the domain?
The
last
website?
year was Roots.
Just the domain.
the domain, I think Bruce Smith, he set it up and I think probably he's the closest one to it.
Okay.
And then, Christine from Inlight Marketing, she's our webmaster.
Christine,
She may know
Kristen.
something about that.
We can talk to Christy.
Okay, yeah, and feel free to forward me your info.
I will.
Yeah.
I will get you her info so you can
Yeah.
communicate with her. And we can get in touch with Bruce Smith as well, but, since we are going to be forwarding from amador-city.com to amadorcity.gov, I don't want to add a third. I think we're getting in the weeds then.
It says we can only apply for one
Good, that settles it.
Okay,
Okay, so Amador.
per
City-
service. So if we have other services, we could apply for a different gov.
Okay.
okay.
So so we're looking at a motion to pursue getting a .gov domain, amadorcity.gov.
Is it free?
It is free.
Oh, yay.
I knew you'd like that. It's free.
It's Susan's price tag.
Yeah. So, do I hear a motion to pursue getting the amadorcity.gov domain?
I'll make a motion.
Bruce made a motion
Second,
and seconded. So we'll do roll call vote. Nico.
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. So the motion passes. We'll move forward on that. Thank you very much, Nico.
Yes.
Item 9H, local early action plan, the LEAP grant, yay. They finally have moved ahead on that. The status of long delayed LEAP project. We have resolution number 613, just as reference, approved in May 2023. And proposed projects from that application in 2023 to just sort of lend a little bit of background to that. Now, the reason it was held up for quite a period of time is it's tied, as that resolution shows, to the housing element, which was held up and finally approved this year. So they're now in a position to move forward with LEAP grant loans. So any questions regarding that process to Dave or Ann, who know more about it than I?
I have two.
Good. Questions, you're
first-
supposed to have the answers.
So the first one, did we get an award letter?
No.
We got the email. I know we got the email, but did we get the actual?
No, they just, at this point, wanted to confirm that we were still interested. So this is a discussion only. This is not a matter of any motion. So, this is just discussion that they're opening it up.
And the second point is, I may have said, I think I said that we hadn't done any projects associated with it, but that's actually not true.
Oh.
Susan Peters worked on our housing element, and I think that those should be paid for by the LEAP grant.
Okay, so we need to get
That's
that
what we already
correction.
approved.
Yeah, we approved that and I just kind of blanked on that because
Mhm,
the municipal code update based on the housing
Mhm.
element
Mhm.
hasn't been done, but the
Yeah.
housing element work itself has been done.
Yeah.
And that was, so if you go through Weber Gio's
Mhm.
invoices, you'll find
Mhm.
Susan Peters and it'll be explicit.
Oh, yeah, you're looking at, okay,
Yeah.
all
so
right, I
that-
see what you're looking at.
Yeah,
And that was
So-
all the things that we included in the grant application,
right.
so.
They're listed. there.
Susan was good to just kind of say, hey,
Mhm.
we'll just hold that in abatement
Mhm.
till we get it, because
Mhm.
again. While we had not received the official word like we have now, the agency handling it continued to say.
It's coming.
It's coming, it's
Yes.
coming, it's coming. So,
Yes.
oh, and then
Mhm.
we need to, so originally the deadline for the LEAP projects was the end of 2024, which is like
Coming.
coming like tomorrow.
They gave us an extension.
Another extension, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did, so.
Because they haven't even given it to us. and
Right.
so, yes, we're very clear to say, we can't spend this money by the deadline, and so.
Yes.
The email back, corresponds back, or said we're exempt from that date.
Well,
So,
and I want to point out that the person who emailed back that they couldn't get the work done by that time was Weber Gio, who's going to be implementing what we have on
Yeah.
this. So again, I mean, that contract. I also want to point out that, a portion of these grant funds are administration and and are used to pay our administration.
so they can, we can use a portion
We
towards
can
Dave's
use-
salary.
Yes, we can. So, there's no action on this item. This is information, so there will be actions coming up when we get the award letter and things are moving forward. Okay, any other questions for Ann or Dave? Okay. With that, we go to 9I, Amador City Conflict of Interest Code. A discussion regarding any need for Amador City to amend its conflict of interest code, and there is an email in there that you had a chance to read. The Fair Political Practice Commission emailed us that we need to announce whether or not we need to amend it.
Yes, we do. That's simple. So they're actually good to work with us. I've been in touch with them. They just said that we had to inform the council of the step moving forward. And then we'll actually have a resolution and appropriate information provided to the council for the next meeting. Essentially what it is, it needs to be done every 5 years. It's been a number of years since our last one. So it's simply an update. So the good news to the city is there's no pending problem that it creates. There's no problem where we haven't done it. Again, each council member has been good to fill out their appropriate forms, the Fair Practice Commission and Political Practice Commission. So we're good there. It's just time to make sure we update
Mhm.
our books. And so if we were to undergo an audit by the FPPC, or FCCP, or whatever it is, too
Yeah.
late, too many acronyms at this point. If we were to undergo it, they would just say, hey, you need to update it. So this is preemptive on our part.
Mhm. Okay, so we'll look forward to that as an agenda item next time. So thank you. There's no action on that either. It's just other than Dave saying yes. Hmm?
I don't remember seeing the other.
Is that a code update?
It says that this email was to be forwarded to me. I didn't see it until I saw the agenda, so I'll look at this between now and the next. And I'll also look at, they have a reference to,
Mhm.
how the webinar on how to amend it. And
Yeah.
I'll read that before next meeting.
Thank you. Okay.
And is this something that's gonna be an update to the municipal code, or is it just something that we keep on file?
Conflict of interest code, I think, is separate from the municipal code, or it's not codified as part of the muni code unless the council chooses to do that.
Our previous one is part of the muni code.
Then this will be too.
Mhm. Okay, so we are on 9K, follow-up, Government of Amador City, discussion and possible action regarding the staff position that's titled City Manager. And the attachments were a summary and background based on the meeting last, in August. The same California legislative information, letter, and then some linkages for information and just information for discussion. So let me flip to that one. You staying?
I will stay.
Okay,
This is not the closed session.
no,
No.
no. But I'm just gonna talk a little bit, we don't have any general public here tonight. But I'm gonna just review a little bit, which was the first attachment that was there. In terms of background, in 2022, City Council of Amador City established a city manager position. The budgets passed in 22, 23, 24, allocated funding in various proportions for that staff position. For staff, which included this position. And then I've had the documentation from minutes from 2022 below that. The issue is that it's a conflict with California Government Code, because a city manager position is established when we have a city manager style of government, and that was, we weren't asking, I want to say that I didn't present the item well last time. It's really a matter of, we just need to clean that up. It's a matter of, do we want to clean it up in one of three ways? And all three ways were discussed at the last meeting. The first of these is to establish a city manager form of government through ordinance, and Pat went through that process last time, and there was some discussion about that. It can be ordinance, referendum, or a ballot measure. We could rename and clarify the responsibilities of the position as city administrator without going through any ordinances or resolutions. The position could be eliminated through public hearing, a council motion, and a vote. Each would align our government with the California government codes and bring us, out of a point of kind of conflict, I guess, between the two. So, Pat drew a nice sort of example of what the two styles of government are, the differences between them. And then I gave some links to others that were more cumbersome, but had other ways of explaining it or other resources. And then I included, and Pat reviewed it and gave input on it. Because there were questions about, well, what exactly does a city administrator do that's different? And this is a sample of one that is an at-will employment, and it goes through what a contract, because the letter that was originally offered to you didn't have the protections for you or necessarily the council in place. So this would be a sample of what an administrator contract would look like. Manager contracts would be specified by the ordinance and are easy to also look up if anyone chose to do so. That is the information for discussion tonight. So I open it up to council discussion or to Pat, or you have anything you'd like to say?
I'll go last, how's that?
Okay. So any discussion? The issue is not, I want to say at this point, in terms of this year, the position is doing, the person filling the position is doing the work. The budget was passed and the budget accounts for that salary. It's not a matter of, we don't have it. It's already been, we've already approved a budget and is included in that. So it's really not a matter now of going into the weeds and finding out, can we afford it? We already passed a budget that says we can.
So I would say, sort of from the
Perspective of former mayor?
that that for the ease of the council, it would be easier to change the position to city administrator. And the other reason that I think that that's a good idea is should we at some point need to eliminate the position? For whatever reason, we have a financial crisis. Dave moves on and we can't find anybody else to do it. Then we've already changed our code to say we're a different form of government.
And we'd have to fill the position.
And we would have to. So I feel like it gives us more flexibility. I'm not sure that it would satisfy Dave's need in terms of a job title, but I think for the benefit of the city council, I think that would, and an at-will contract, I think, is easy to execute.
Any other questions?
City administrator position also.
It's,
To address the legalities or.
yes, please.
When we did the advertising in May of 22, it said it was advertised as a position to perform administrative work. Basically, and at that time, the council was not aware of the particular distinction of the definition of a city manager, which is specified in the government code. It's a defined term.
Yeah.
We didn't know about that. We didn't know
Yeah.
anything. Basically, the idea was to perform administrative tasks and not be, like in bigger cities, in this county, Jackson is an example. They have a city manager who's full-time, has a salary, and they've got several employees, has hire and fire authority over that. in all probability, and this is a practical rather than legal advice, Amherst City is too small to need that. But we do need administrative work done that Dave's been doing exactly, and I tend to agree with what Ann said, that David's essentially been doing city administrator work under the title of city manager. And if you clarify the title without changing any of the job responsibilities or the current terms of Dave's employment with the city, that would suffice. And it appears that may be what the council wants to do anyway, rather than go make a wholesale change in the way the city is run.
Yeah.
The only employee that I can think of besides Dave is Joyce. So you can hire and fire her, or the mayor can do that in case.
Joyce is elected.
But
Joyce is, she's.
oh, then they can't, then there is no employee. you can
Yeah,
hire.
there we do have, we have
That's suggesting.
we have Ian. He's
We
the
have our
only
maintenance-
employee who's
our
not,
maintenance,
yeah, who's
Okay.
not
Yeah.
elected, yeah.
Yeah. I want to state, well, Dave would probably say this, and Pat probably would too. One of the beauties of the position is I commiserate with Ann. There's a lot of work to this and a ton. And I want to say the job requirements for us here on city council are to be over 18, registered to vote and live in city limits. And the job requirements for a city administrator are very well defined and they very much exceed being
Just-
over 18 and registered to vote and living in city limits. So we have a level of expertise and a level of knowledge that I'd like to think we are all really best of intentions and educated and smart people, and we are, but we really don't, we don't come with that. Plus, council members change and will change in January, and we have a point of continuity because that's not an elected position. So that's somebody who's got the background and can guide, offer advice and steerage the way Pat does, the way they both do. The third reason I value it is that if Dave, in managing, say, our city properties, which is one of the administrative jobs he does, runs into someone who violates the lease, who doesn't pay the rent, and he makes a decision to evict, then they can appeal to council. If we don't have that intermediary and the mayor does it, I have to recuse, and that leaves a 2-2 possibility or maybe no quorum. So we have a lot of protections with an administrative or managerial type position.
And the other thing that I would say also is
Mhm.
that, I mean, I don't know if it was just that I became mayor at the time when we had a major wall collapse and a bunch of other
Sure.
stuff, but I feel and then things like applying for grants and
Following through it, we got Measure K and.
yeah, all of these, yeah, all of those things. I don't know if the work has increased or if the bar has raised over the years for what is expected of, a mayor-led city, even if it's a tiny, small city, but I feel like it was a very large responsibility that often took me 20 to 30 hours a week. And then the more you do, the more you see you need to do. I mean, there's so many things, right, that are on the list that we are supposed to be doing or we should be doing, and
Mhm.
kind of we just don't have the time. So I think, I think having someone like Dave on staff has sort of enabled, when I was mayor at least, for me to focus on mostly more bigger picture things. Totally did a bunch of detailed things, but
Mhm.
to think about things like,
Mhm.
should we get a leak grant? Should we,
Mhm.
Yeah, in the
should,
park.
should we,
Mhm.
should we pursue the park? Should we,
Mhm.
pursue, and I think, if I'd been doing all the stuff that Dave was doing, I don't think there would have been one inch of space in my brain.
Well, and, okay, where was I? I had this brilliant thought. Go ahead, Susan, maybe
Well, I
I'll come
agree with
back.
everything
Mhm.
everybody said. I just hope we can afford it.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I agree
And-
with you.
And then that is written into an at-will contract.
Mhm.
You know, that at will means if there is a reason and the city, we have a huge expense and have no budget. That would be a discussion, but that would be by council, motion and vote. It wouldn't be random. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Joyce.
I just want to share this.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, I used to have, I did the rentals.
Mhm.
One time I evicted one of the renters, and I just want to tell you what happened.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he slashed my tires,
Mhm.
Ian's tires, and broke the windows in my store.
That's why we want Dave to do it.
Snap her tires and break her windows.
I don't think.
We want Dave to. do
We want somebody we trust to do the best.
Yeah, yeah, we want, so, that's terrible,
That
but
was the
it's
tenant
also,
who did that. Yeah, and then he disappeared.
no, of course.
Yeah, because he'd have been arrested if he'd hung around.
Yeah.
I know, I was gonna say, when you were talking about the burden and, you know, the level of, has government gotten harder or, you know, bigger? Well, we may have 100 registered voters, we may have 182 people, but we are bound by the same civil codes and government codes as San Francisco, and it's complicated.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of thinking that over 18 and living in city limits and registered to vote is a low bar for what we have. to do.
Well, I would look, I'm glad Nico's here. I mean, I'd
Me
love to have
too.
someone who's not in the retirement age range, and that's also,
Me too.
it's also why I'm glad Dave is here, because, you know, I
Same.
think, I think that, sometimes my brain doesn't, I mean, it functions, but it doesn't see the world the same way as somebody who's younger.
Yeah.
And
And
who's
with a family and
in
investing
the workforce
We
and all of those other things,
we
you know,
really need
because
all
of-
of that on council,
yeah,
so, and staff.
yeah.
So,
Hey, can I ask you, like,
Mhm.
it says here you're spending 10 hours a week, how many hours are you really spending?
You don't wanna know.
Yeah.
You don't.
Okay.
And that's the thing, it is, and I think this goes to Ann's point, is because I was mayor before Ann. And at that point, as is established now, it was a mayor manager system. At one point, there was one week where I probably spent 40 hours in that week, aside from my full-time job, because I was just, everything was going together. There was managerial stuff, and I was lucky that week didn't include like the mayor stuff on top of it.
and PJ
So-
wasn't born yet.
She was not.
So you just. said
And again, Nico, it does vary. So, to answer that question, it's an established 10. There's been some weeks where I'll admit it's probably as high as 20 to 30 hours on a ministerial stuff. We'll just go to that word. Again, and some of that is in connection with either an individual council member or the mayor or the vice mayor, or then it's just simply dealing with the public or staff meetings. But the other thing that it gives you too is I did establish a very good relationship with other outside agencies and including the county, and those are a continuation of the services that I'm able to provide. So, again, when they walk in the door and they already know who I am,
Mhm.
it's good. Another thing, like last week, to be able to sit down with Sutter Creek and work out a deal and get information that we haven't been provided with in probably almost 10 years was very useful.
It was incredibly useful, so thank you. And this only came about because one of the things Dave talked about was rather than doing time sheets and whatever, could it just be split over the various months? So I was looking at, okay, let's get a contract for that. And then I discovered with the contracts, it's an ordinance.
Okay.
Nobody knew. I
Yeah, we
mean,
didn't.
We didn't know. So that's what and it's turned into a bigger issue than I think it needed to be.
Yet another reason why
Mhm.
much of my business experience does not apply to how you run a city. Some does, but not much. I mean,
Well, to be fair to the city, one of the things there is we were in the transition of having the attorney that we had that was very good to another attorney, but it was an interim period.
Yeah, without it.
And in fact, this position came about by the advice of our previous attorney, Gregory Wayland, who said, you need a city administrator. Well, he said you need a city manager. Just because, again, to your point, Sandy,
Mhm.
we may be small, but we're governed by the same rules and laws.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, when I served as mayor, within my first month, the city attorney at that time came to me confidentially and said, you're in a lot of trouble. Because we hadn't kept up with
Yeah.
the things that we were supposed to do, and so we did a lot of work as that council to get us to the point we're at now. And so to answer your question, why is there more now? You're gonna thank me and
Thank you,
Susan for
Dave.
that. As mayor and vice mayor, because we were able to use the attorney and actually get us in compliance with many of those rules and regulations that the city hadn't been doing before, which again is kind of sad because we were able to act as a handshake city in most things.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it was starting to come around and really kind of take its toll, including after being mayor for 1 month, we were in the newspaper with a threat from a lawsuit from Governor Newsom. Who luckily
For
it
not,
didn't go
having
anywhere.
a housing.
Right.
Mhm.
Because again, we had a handshake agreement with the county just to include us,
Mhm.
but the state, when they looked at it, they said, no, that doesn't work.
So Pat, what is our next step? It sound, I mean, if we are in
Oh.
agreement to look at city administrator and if Dave is in agreement, then.
I think all you do is change the title designation
Mhm,
from city manager to city administrator
mhm,
at this point. And if it's the will of the council that we not go to
mhm,
effectively, a city manager is the executive branch of the government. If
mhm.
that's what you want to do, then you need to do the ordinance, changing the basic type of government. If you don't want to do that, then I would suggest you change the title of the position and maybe amend the contract with Dave to change city manager, city administrator, because of that particular stricture in the government code that says the city manager means this, and what we're actually doing is something different.
So does this you look this over, does this pass muster?
You could, the existing contract that we have, it just depends. The city manager contracts for bigger cities have, it's like, football coaches. That if you get fired, you get a certain amount of,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
not in here, yeah,
and it also has protections for cause and all that.
Yeah.
Stuff that is highly unlikely to ever occur in this situation.
but have you had a chance to look it over?
I did, I think, before,
You
and
did,
I
you
said,
did.
I reviewed it and I sent back my edits.
And they're in here,
Then if what I sent back to you, then I'm in favor of it, because I
Yeah.
did review it.
yeah, and so, Dave, have you had a chance to
I
look
did
at it?
not, only
Okay.
because I waited until the council. But again, I
Mhm.
appreciate the work's gone into it.
Mhm.
My thought on this at this point is I was gonna continue under the current contract I had. And when the contract or the decision of the council changes depending on the form of government, then we can revisit it with that contract, and that can be a discussion that can take place, and I can review it and be prepared to
Mhm.
deal with it then.
So,
Are we at risk if we do that?
At risk of what?
Are we, does the city put itself, I don't know, some legal risk if we wait until his current contract expires to adopt the city administrator contract?
Well, number one, the existing contract, I believe, doesn't have a set term.
mhm,
And
Oh,
so
okay. Well, that's true.
the city can replay again, and in terms of my wording of this,
mhm,
again, the decision as to
mhm.
you don't, in my view, need to put this up for bid. The matter of if it's gonna be changed, Dave hasn't read this yet.
Mhm,
And so obviously he needs to read it. There's some language that he needs, tuned up
mhm,
in there. This was taken, plagiarized from some other source,
Mhm.
and then I reviewed it and made some edits. And if you want to, the first decision is if you want to change it from manager to city administrator, and then if you want to propose this as a starting point for negotiations with Dave as far as the new contract, you can do that.
mhm. Okay,
So why don't we just have Dave
review it,
review it and we'll revisit the conversation after
with
we've
that-
reviewed it?
But I would make the philosophical decision now, in terms of what form of government the city wants to have going forward.
okay, so, we will need a motion to, there needs, would someone make a motion? I'll do one, and then if there's no response to it, we'll change it. So do I hear a motion to change our city government to a manager style government with going through the ordinance process?
Where's city administrator in your,
It's not.
That's-
No,
that's
she's
not it.
proposing option one,
Mhm.
which is have a formal council manager form of government.
To change our form of government to council manager form of government through an ordinance. Do I hear a motion to proceed with that?
A council manager?
That's what having a city manager is called.
Oh.
Like Jackson does. And Los Angeles does.
Just yes or no? Do you want to do you want to move to having an ordinance to change our form of government to a manager form of government?
No,
Okay. Do I hear a motion to continue with a staff position, but change the title to city administrator and to offer an at-will employment contract at a future date?
so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
We'll do roll call vote. Nico, Susan,
Aye.
Bruce,
Aye.
Ann. Aye. Motion's passed. So,
We'll do it.
okay. And then I will talk to you about that part afterwards. Thank you very much. So with that, we are on to closed session. And you have a close.
Are there any reports?
Oh, reports. I lost my agenda. I'm sorry. If I don't have it in front of me, I'm lost.
Here's the agenda.
Thank you. Okay, so we do have administrative reports and comments, city manager report and comments.
So I'll make it quick, given the hour in this closed session. I do want to, I've talked about this a little bit. I was able to meet with Cedar Creek concerning the ARSA situation. Again, and this isn't directed at any single individual, because I know we've had members of our city council sit on the board of ARSA, but it is a dumpster flame. Like, it's a dumpster fire, to be completely honest. It's been mismanaged. So I hate to put it that way, and again, that falls on past administrators of ARSA. Again, not to disparage a single individual, I can just say with a pretty confident way, this is a good change, which I was apprehensive about it as city manager moving forward with ARSA, based on the discussion I had with Tom, as well as the mayor of Sutter Creek. Again, they're willing to share more information we've got in the past. They've already shared that information. Like Tom said, he's willing to come with a PowerPoint presentation that is tailored to us as a city, as an Amador, so that we can see and we can know the questions. Again, they have a good projection of what costs are going to be. They have a good projection of what projects they're going to do. They also have a good projection of, if it doesn't work, what the alternatives are going to be. The other thing too is, and this dates back into the time when I was mayor, Sutter Creek was trying to get a plan of their own. It's such a mess. It's been mismanaged even by Sutter Creek. And really, the recent administration has done a lot to clean that up, which is good information. The way that it affects you as city manager is it's now my job moving forward to again work out a contract, because we haven't had a contract since 2013 with Amador City. Our previous mayor was serving at the time, sent a 28-page letter to Sutter Creek to say why we weren't going to renew the contract and what had to happen, which was not fruitful. It was not him, not me, it was not Susan. I have all that information. All that information will be good going forward. We'll be able to work this out again. And I have the reassurances from Sutter Creek, and I think this has been a concern of the council, is it does feel like, or has felt like in the past, that Amador City was bearing a lot of the burden based upon the responsibility been given. That is not going to be the case going forward. We're not going to be disregarded. We have a seat at the table. We are able to negotiate. I do feel confident that any rates that we do get, barring a calculation mistake by their fiscal department, which we'll work with, will actually be rates so that ARSA, or now Sutter Creek Managing, it will be a break even. They won't make money off, and they won't again run in deficits. So,
Have him bring an audit, the
Okay.
latest audit. See how much money they have,
well, and that's fair.
For the
But
city?
how much
For ARSA.
money ARSA has.
Okay.
well,
Let
and
me
that's the thing
clarify
too.
who's audit.
Well, and that's fine. We can ask for that. I will let you know that ARSA is facing an $80 million infrastructure debt with going forward because of aged infrastructure. So it's again, what it is, and there's a lot going into this, and we could sit and talk about it for hours. But essentially, ARSA has been taking the money from the cities and they've been loaning it to other projects along the way. And there has been no reinvestment in capital. And unfortunately, the Pied Piper is on his way. And, you know, robbing from Peter to pay Paul always catches up, and that's essentially where we're at. And so we will be able to work with, again, it's not solely affected by us. We will be only to the amount that we spend our wastewater
Our
in our
proportion.
say, right, our proportion. But again, we're still a city and they understand our need, and so they're willing to include us in that conversation. The nice part is we're included in the conversation as an equal partner. We don't bear the same burden of the cost as they will.
Which is perfect. I like that. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate all that because that was a big unknown for us going into this. So Pat, city attorney report.
I don't have anything except for the closed session, madam. We'll get to them.
Okay. All right. So we go to member reports. Nico, anything to report but the work you've been doing? Nothing else? Okay. Susan?
Nope.
Bruce?
I'm gonna look at the monument.
Mm-hmm.
All we need is a couple of batteries,
Do you know what kind?
AGM, 125 amp hour.
Just the
When
drive
it-
cell.
Yeah,
Okay, is the
they absorb glass minute.
Okay, so I have a connection at O'Reilly that can get us those batteries. So I know, well, just give me the specs, Bruce, and we can do it, because the last time we paid some astronomical number,
Yeah.
and it's not, that it wasn't, again, it was the correct battery, but there's an alternative that's much, much cheaper.
Yeah, we don't need expensive batteries.
Right,
It's not a life saving.
We just need it on for 5 hours.
Yeah.
right.
Pretty much.
Has a
Okay.
time
So just,
limit.
if you'll get me the specs, Bruce, I'll use my dad's,
Everything else is there.
my
Okay.
dad's shop account to get them.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Are we talking about the traffic signs?
No, the monument.
Oh,
Mhm.
So, but we do need to find a better way of securing it closed, because it was locked and they broke the lock.
Well, one thing I was thinking, putting a little sign on it, just saying. These are used AGM batteries in here.
Put a,
We need a camera.
up and say smile or something.
Well,
You don't even have to have a real camera.
there is, I know someone suggested a real camera and a dummy, the dummy visible and then a real one. you
Yeah.
know, Kind of.
Well, that's
anyway.
interesting, yeah.
I thought that
We
was,
could chain a pit bull outside.
we could do that.
Plenty of them
Okay.
running around.
Yeah, well, good, thank you. Ann, how
Yeah.
was LAFCO today?
LAFCO was long today.
Yeah.
So today LAFCO voted to, to zero out the Lockwood Fire District.
Oh, yeah.
Border and increase the Amador Fire Protection Districts to include the Lockford. And they also voted to proceed with dissolving the Lockwood Lockwood
Mhm.
Fire Protection District.
Yeah,
And have basically those facilities and equipment turned over to Amador Fire Protection District.
mhm.
And there were no one comes to LAFCO meetings. But there were a lot of people there today. And there were some people who were against this.
Mhm.
But the testimony that impacted me the most was a woman whose husband is one of 2 remaining volunteer firefighters
Mhm.
that they have up there.
Yeah.
And when Chief Withrow, who's the chief of Amador Fire Protection District, when he had been the chief when he was part of CAL FIRE, I don't know, something like that. And he'd gotten it up to 16. And so on top of their not having any money and their people pay $40 a year to get those fire stations. They also don't have any volunteers. So it's fake protection right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, so most of the people were really in favor of Amador
Mhm.
Fire Protection going in there.
Mhm.
And so that
Oh,
was
good.
passed. So now what's gonna happen is there'll be a public comment period,
Mhm.
and so everyone who's either a voter or a property owner will get a postcard and they can
Mhm.
protest or support. And then there'll be another hearing after that to finalize it, so,
Okay,
yeah.
well, thank you, and you had 2 long meetings back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a red
Big
banner
agenda
day.
today. It's a
Um,
big agenda tonight.
It was.
Yeah, this was really big.
it was, they're not usually like this. Yeah, I know. Well, I have a couple of things to report. The Sutter Creek Fire Protection District met last night, so, or Tuesday night, so I was at that. And they're, still involved in fire mitigation reviews in Sutter Creek, the checks for property. There were 38 properties that weren't cleared, and the police are following through now, making the calls to the property owners. 6 to 7 of them have complied. And then we talked a bit about Amador City because they'll come over to us next. And he's not awfully concerned just at knowing the town, except with 2 properties, both of which are east here of School Street, one on either side of Water Street. And I think we all know those properties. So we'll see how that goes. Sutter Creek is developing an abatement, fuel abatement resolution and adding enforcement and strategies to expedite the process. And we did that before they did, which is kudos, because I think you instituted that, Ann. Yeah. And we also have from Holly, this is the TOT reports the top tax, transient occupancy tax receipts for the Airbnbs and hotels over the past 2 years. And one of the things that gets very obvious when you look carefully at it is why there are several Airbnbs that have gone to long-term rentals. They're not being rented as much. The area is saturated. So I don't just mean Amador City, I mean, generally the area is saturated. So that Holly wanted me to hand that out and to say that those who are remiss in their TOT will be getting letters from her next week. And with that, we can go on to requests for future agenda items. I have kept note of what's come up in here. Are there any future agenda items that haven't?
I have one
Okay.
from Grant Reynolds, concerning improvements to the filter system,
Okay,
which will include, again, they have, again, I don't want to go into it too much, but again, they've tried the different systems and it's just not working to protect the pumps we just bought. And so they have a new system they want us to look at
okay,
and vote on as a council.
okay, so they're gonna be getting us the information for the next
I've
one.
actually already have it,
Good.
but it was received after the deadline.
Is there, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And it's not of urgency.
I received it Monday night. Well, that's the thing. There actually is, it's not urgent enough to call for a special meeting. If that's what's intended by that comment. It's actually just that there is a sunset for the bid.
Oh,
But Grant was confident that even if we push it a little bit, we'll be fine.
okay,
Cause I did ask that.
So it should be on next month. Then.
It will.
okay, got it. Okay,
Who did this list?
Holly?
But some of these are long-term rentals now, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or moving to that, like the Peacocks, that's a long-term rental now. Chancy's is gonna be moving to a long-term
Long-term rental,
rental.
yeah.
And a couple of them, you can look at what they've taken in and, it's dropped. They
Yeah.
have been dropping. That wasn't her point so much. That was just my observation. And I did know several were going to long-term rentals. So we're ready for closed session. We do have an envelope.
I have one suggestion.
Oh, please, yes.
I was looking up at the ceiling. We have 2 or 3 ceiling fans up here. They got them, they're relatively inexpensive at Lowe's or somewhere. I think it would make a vast difference in the day. I mean, obviously, there the summer months. It gets oppressively hot in here and we don't have the air conditioning. Obviously, that may be remedied when they finally get the building fixed, but I don't know that. I'm saying the cost of doing that would be relatively small. It's just something to throw out if you want to consider that. And if it's, the expense shouldn't be more than $1,000 or more, I would think.
Well,
You talking about fans?
ceiling fans.
We used to have ceiling fans.
I think part of our issue right now is that we are on emergency power over here because of.
I'm just saying, if you looked into and discussed with whoever does that, it would make a comfort difference for the public and obviously staff and the council.
We can look into that.
What's up with the bathroom?
Oh, we should have asked them while they were here. Forgot all about it.
No water.
Okay,
Water.
yeah, all right, that's a problem.
Yeah, I know. I had to go home before the meeting. I was here in the afternoon. It was like.
Got
wait
the
a
parking
minute.
lot. Yeah.
I know, run down to, yeah. Okay.
There's no water, so you can't flush the toilet and then.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So, sorry, do you want to know, sorry, not to go back in items, do you want an update on the insurance status of the building?
Yes.
Yeah,
So I talked to Larry White today, essentially what it is. We understand that it's a 100-year-old building. And it doesn't conform to any codes, to look at it. Unfortunately, at this point, the insurance company is pushing back and saying that any and all repairs are a betterment, and so they are pushing back on what they're willing to do. And so the good news is we have Larry on our side,
Mhm.
and he has an expert that he's going to invite to a meeting, but it looks like Sandy, you and I will set a meeting with
Okay,
the insurance company to go over that with him
okay.
and essentially begin those negotiations to show them that, no, it isn't a betterment, it's that we now, because of the damage, have to comport to current building codes.
Mhm.
And in order to do that, there has to be certain repairs.
Cause there are many, many ancient houses in this that have insurance, and if they have fire damage, and if they get into that on residential, I think that the insurance company would probably lose.
Yeah, they would.
And if you want me to see what I can do in terms of researching that issue, I can do that.
Thank
Anything
you.
would be appreciated.
Yeah, it would be.
So, because again, it's unfortunately, it's one of those things, and I'll just say this. This would be one of those buildings that, again, would be a sad loss to the community. Had the fire burned it down, but actually would have been better for us
Easier. Mhm.
in the long run because of the fight that we're in.
You can rebuild it from the ground up would be
Mhm.
less of a hassle to the insurance company.
Right,
Mhm.
so,
I get that.
again, ongoing.
Ongoing, okay. And I got down, look into whether or not we can get this in. I'll ask Larry mainly about it because he will know more about the electrical issues and, or the contractor. Okay. Nika, were you gonna say something except the bathroom, the water issue? I know, I forgot all about that. Okay,
Yeah.
anything else? Are we ready for closed session?
You have to turn.
We have
We have
to
to-
turn it off. Yeah, end the meeting.
Happy to do it.